Hello everyone, I'm Haoqi Wang from EPFL CV Lab. I will present our latest work in ICML 2025, Demystifying Singular Defects in Large Language Models. Singular defects refer to the phenomenon of high-norm tokens appear in intermediate layers of LLMs. We will provide detailed analysis of the life cycle of high-norm tokens, including its development, trigger, explosion, and decay. Our analysis motivates two applications, including improving the quantization and the design of LLM signature. The emergence of high-norm tokens is a universal phenomenon in contemporary LLMs. They often suddenly appear and disappear at the initial position of the text sequence, and sometimes appear in some delimiter tokens at non-initial positions. One interesting observation is that those high-norm tokens share the same direction, regardless of the input text, the layer, and the location in the sequence. We find that high-norm tokens appear in the early stage of the training, both for tiny-sized models and large-sized models. Our analysis is based on the mathematical tool of linear approximation, which is introduced in our previous work, Cinder, published at ECCV 2024. Basically, each transformer layer can be approximated by linear matrices under the single token assumption. For example, the self-attention module is approximated by matrix A, and the FFN module is approximated by matrix F. Combined together, a transformer layer can be approximated as I plus R, where I is the identity matrix and R is the residual matrix. We can predict the direction of high-norm tokens by computing the leading left singular vector of the linear approximation of the explosion layer and the decay layer. As shown in this figure, the predicted direction has only 6 degrees of error. We can also describe the decay of token norms at the decay layer mathematically. At the decay layer, roughly speaking, we have I plus R times X equals to 0, which means that Rx equals to the negative of X. This indicates that the high-norm direction is an eigenvector of matrix R, and the corresponding eigenvalue is negative. This figure verifies our theory. We notice the difference between the initial high-norm token and the non-initial high-norm token is that the initial high-norm token relates to the self-attention, while the non-initial high-norm tokens are unrelated to the self-attention. From the left figure to the right figure, we deleted the self-attention layers in the model. We can see that most tokens are no longer having high norms, except for a few non-initial high-norm tokens. We discovered a one-dimensional subspace called explosion subspace. It is responsible for the creation of high norms. If a token has a large component inside the explosion subspace, then this token will explode in the explosion layer. Mathematically, the explosion subspace is spanned by the leading right singular vector of matrix F in the explosion layer. Our study of the high-norm phenomenon leads to the practical application. We observe that the explosion or decay layers creates outlier activations and harms the quantization procedure. By keeping the down projection layer in explosion and decay layers in FP16 precision, we can greatly improve the tensor-wise W8-A8 quantization. We also observe that the high-norm direction stabilizes during training and is robust to fine-tuning, so it can be used as a signature of LLM. We define the distance of the two models as the angle between their signatures. In this figure, we can see models fine-tuned from the same base model have small distances, while models trained independently have very large distance. This property can be used to trace model lineage. Our code is released at GitHub. Thanks for your attention.